So,
Hi, this is Chatterboxing. I'm Sean. I'm going to talk about a couple of things today. I'm going to talk about the Canelo Alvarez, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. fight. Also give kind of last minute thoughts on David Haye, Tony Bellew, having seen the press conferences and the gloves are off and all that. I've got Sean with me again. How are you, Sean?
yeah, buzzing, mate. Absolutely buzzing. Got a good weekend of boxing. Had
Yeah,
a good week of press conferences. Yeah, everything's looking good at the moment. Loads to chat about.
yeah,
Exciting fights ahead. So yeah,
yeah. Obviously, we've
buzzing.
got Thurman Garcia as well, but we've already kind of given our prediction on that one. Nothing's really changed for me anyway.
No, not particularly. I won't add too much, but I will say Garcia has looked bigger than I thought he would. But that aside, yeah, we've as we said we've gone through that. Still favouring Furman personally, but
Yeah.
still looking at it being a good fight.
Oh yeah. Right, well, let's start off then with the Canelo Alvarez, Julio Cesar Chavez fight. What was your initial reaction when you heard about this?
I think what was everyone's initial reaction. To be honest, we got Canelo who has been ducking Triple G for fuck knows how long. The public have been screaming and shouting for it, and that's at £160. And then he's willing to go up to 164 and a half to have a Mexican showdown with Chavez, and I don't know. It just seems a bit hypocritical, to be honest.
Yeah, it seems a bit like Canelo. He's just sort of dancing to his own tune, really, isn't he? He's just doing whatever he wants. I mean, he's basically he was fighting it for 155 pounds for the middleweight title. To be fair, Cotto did that first, didn't he? And then he fought with him there, and then he sort of defended against Amir Khan at 155 pounds. Then wanted the mandatory challenger to have to fight below the official limit for middleweight. Gave up his belt, said he's not a middleweight. Goes back down to 154. Cherry picks the weakest champion there. Let's be honest. And then
Yeah.
basically just completely skips the middleweight division and like tries to drain Chavez Jr. to fight him there. So, I mean, yeah, I'm not impressed.
Not impressed at all. But let's let's be real. He's never fought anyone as strong as Chavez, and the whole drain issue could very well completely annihilate Chavez because everyone's heard rumours in the past he struggled to hit 168, but he's never fought anyone that's bigger than him. Essentially, He's always been fighting at either welterweight or super welterweight, or I'm not even going to say middleweight because it's not true. And he's always
Canelo,
been the bigger geezer, isn't he? So
yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, like, people in Mexico, apparently, this is actually quite a big fight, and it's been brewing for some time because there's some personal beef between them. Obviously, Julio Cesar Chavez, although he's not really done anything of any note, does have his dad's name. So his dad being obviously a legend in Mexico, that in itself carries some weight.
yeah, well, you could say he hasn't done anything, but if you look at his resume, like, don't get me wrong, it's not like as sparkling, let's say, as Canelo's, but he's fought a lot of fighters with good records, and he's beaten Andy Lee for instance. And I wanted to make the point that as far as Andy Lee goes, like if someone said Andy Lee's fighting Canelo, you'd give him a puncher's chance, wouldn't you? Like you wouldn't sit there and think
Yeah,
that Canelo was going to roll over him, would you?
no, but that was a good win. I'll give him credit for that. But that was, I mean, how long ago was that?
I can't remember.
It was years and years ago, and since then, I mean, he's been very inactive. He's just been, smoking a bit of weed, drinking cans of Coke, eating KFC. Do you know what I mean? He hasn't really been. He hasn't been active. He hasn't been dedicated. and I think it's fair to say that he's probably gone backwards since then.
Yeah,
You know?
very possibly, very possibly. I mean, there's no doubt he's taking this fight very seriously. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
that's true.
it's, it's the biggest fight of his career. He's had a few months to train, draining the weight. He could have just gone on an absolute mega diet and then gone from
Yeah.
there and and been comfortable with the weight. Like you don't know how he's done it, do you really?
No, I mean, yeah, it's possible. I think when I first heard about it, because I'll be honest, I haven't really been paying that much attention to him in his last couple of fights. He's had like sort of 2 fights, I think, in the last 2 years. The last proper opponent he fought, or decent opponent, Fonfara, he quit on his stool. And he's knocked down. He looked poor in that fight. Since then, he's fought a couple of people I don't really know who they are. He's presumably, but I think he made I think that was like 168 or just under 160. That's just under the super middleweight limit he did for that. So yeah, it's not that much under, but I think he was struggling to make that anyway. So I think that, I mean, we know how Canelo and Golden Boy do. I mean, they try to get advantages in every fight, don't they? They either want people to be small, much smaller, older, or both, preferably, or look for some kind of advantage that they can get in the fight. And obviously, Chavez Jr., they thought, yeah, he's basically a bit of a bum, lazy bastard, doesn't really train that hard. So what hopefully we can do is get him to just not really take it that seriously, and then have to really kill himself to make that final weight towards the end, leave it all in the gym, come into the fight just drained, exhausted, dehydrated, and just batter him. Basically, I think that's what their plan was. Possibly it might not work out like that, because as you say, he does look like he's taking it quite seriously. The fact that they've got that personal beef. I mean, I was talking to because there's a Facebook group I'm on called Boxeo Contra Golpe, which is like counter-punch boxing in Spanish.
Yeah.
There's quite a lot of Mexicans on there I talk to. And one of them, particularly, he was saying to me that Julio Cesar Chavez and the whole family and Canelo, there's like been back and forth for a long time. So there's a lot of pride at stake. And the Julio Cesar Chavez that quit on his stool against Fonfara, that won't be an option in this fight. So he's really going to be taking it seriously, and I don't doubt that he's going to be in the best condition he can. Which I think they may have. It could be a cherry pick gone wrong. It's possible, isn't it? It is a cherry pick, but it could be the one that's gone wrong. I don't know, but even if you can bring that weight down now for this one fight, you still got to take into account like the years of not looking after yourself, of eating rubbish, drinking alcohol, probably smoking joints. I mean, you know what I mean? I don't think you can just in one camp just suddenly turn it all around and be on the level of someone like Canelo, who's been for years taking it very seriously. Do you know what I mean? I do think even if he's going to get into the best possible shape that he can, I still think it's going to be a big disadvantage for him.
Yeah. I think your points are completely well made, well rounded there. No one's going to argue with that whatsoever. The only argument I could possibly put against that is the fact that he's 6'1". I did check him up earlier. We've got Canelo sitting at what is he 5'9", 5'9.5", something like that.
Oh, he's a lot taller, yeah.
He's a lot taller, and everyone that Canelo's been fighting has been no more than 5'10". Like, I think Liam Smith is only 5'9.5" or something like that. Anyway, like similar sort of height. So he's like kind of like, the way Canelo loves a good hook just to like knock someone spark out. It's not going to be as easy as that to reach up. It's going to be a different style, I think, this fight. And I don't know how well that will suit him necessarily. Let's put it that way.
But he doesn't use his height though, Chavez, from what I've seen. He sort of crouches down. He'll come in. Like, I've seen him quite a few times. He's been taller than his opponent, and he'll just do that too. He'll just sort of crouch and just give up his height, and then try and get in and throw his body shots and stuff. So I don't think he's going to be, boxing long and using that height and reach advantage. Possibly. I mean, he's training with what's his name, Nacho Bernstein. The Juan Manuel Marquez's trainer.
All right. Yeah.
So, exceptional trainer. Very, very. You look at people like Marquez, the other, but like Ray Vargas. Did you see him fight Gavin McDonald the other day?
I didn't. I've heard it was a good fight. He beat him though, didn't he?
Very convincing.
Yeah.
He looked very good. Very
Yeah.
technical. Very good technical boxer.
Yeah.
Nacho Bernstein. How much can he do of that in one camp with Chavez Jr.? Is he going to turn him into? He's not going to start fighting like Gilberto Ramirez. You know what I mean? Like long and rangy. I think he's gonna give up that height and reach advantage. He's going to crouch down. At least that's what he'll revert back to. He might go in there like thinking, I'm going to use my range, but I've never seen him do it before. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. As I said, like I was putting out kind of speculative points just in his favour, as I said, because you made such a well-rounded argument. Um, the way I see the fight panning out, I do see at least 5 rounds, at least, and I could see it going up to. I could see Chavez getting knocked out in the 8th-ish round. If I was going to possibly put a prediction down, I don't really see it going to points for some reason. I've just got a feeling it won't.
I see it being a very good fight. I mean, I'm sort of. I think Canelo's taking the piss with all his, moving around and like sort of picking cherry picking and like just avoiding weight divisions and catch weights and all this. I don't like all that.
Yeah.
But the actual fight itself, I think, has the potential to be very good. What do you reckon? Because we're talking about Chavez coming down in weight. Obviously, Canelo, we know, has been killing himself like to stay out of the middleweight division. Probably because he likes having that advantage over people, and probably because he doesn't want to fight Golovkin. So he's gonna potentially be a lot more comfortable than he has been. He could be very strong, very quick. Be interesting to see how much better he looks than he was at 154, because it's quite a big. I mean, it's like 10 pounds basically.
Yeah, his power could be pretty unreal, to be fair. But that remains to be seen. We're going to see how much his power is obviously influenced by the extra weight, and equally we'll see how he can take someone that's bigger than him, hitting him as well. Because like we said in these last couple of fights, he's fought Liam Smith, Amir Khan, Miguel Cotto, and you think that they probably wouldn't hit as hard as Chavez, simply because of the weight. Like you hear Carl Froch. Remember when he was saying the reason Gennady Golovkin couldn't beat him is because he's bigger and stronger. And don't get me wrong, I know this is down at 64.5 pounds, but this geezer's going to hit harder than any geezer he's ever fought. So
yeah, and also
like interesting point.
And just kind of like pushing him backwards and just because if this fight goes how I see it, I think they're both going to be. Neither of them are like sort of, like on the back foot, like boxing and moving, are they? They're going to be pretty much, I don't say going toe to toe for the whole fight, but they're going to be there close up. I think it's going to be potentially quite an exhausting fight for both of them. Now Chavez, obviously coming down to 164.5 pounds, could be a factor. Maybe it's not going to be as much of a factor as we think, because they've had a lot of time to prepare. His dad is obviously adamant that he can't disgrace the Chavez name, which is like royalty in Mexican boxing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's really got that to live up to. So I think he's gonna do the best he can. He's got Nacho Bernstein involved. He's got that strength and conditioning, that famous strength and conditioning coach as well, who's famously very good. I think there's a couple of allegations of like PED. I don't really want to get into that because I don't know much about it, but he's quite notorious and he's very very good. So if you put all these factors together, possibly Chavez is going to come in and the weight isn't going to be that much of a factor for him. Canelo is going to be, you'd think, have a bit more stamina, a bit more strength, because he's not having to lose as much weight. But at the same time, fighting someone, like you say, bigger than him, on him the whole time, throwing punches, body punches. Yeah, I mean, my prediction is, I think most likely Canelo will win by stoppage. But I wouldn't be that surprised, to be honest, if Chavez stopped him either. It's not beyond the realms of possibility.
No, totally agree there. I mean, I wanted to ask firstly how you sort of like the first kind of, let's say, 3 rounds of the fight panning out, because do you think that it could start very quickly, could like be a complete and utter uproar, or do you think they're gonna scope each other out like you could call a lot of fights, if you know what I mean?
I don't think so. I think they'll get down to it pretty quickly. I mean, I think they're basically it's was it Cinco de Mayo they're doing it, which is like a obviously Mexican public holiday, like a national holiday. It's a grudge match to Mexicans. It's going to be a big, passionate crowd. There's going to be a lot of trash talk and bravado like leading up to it. And neither of them are particularly. I mean, Canelo's a bit more disciplined. I've seen him kind of outbox people before, like Cotto, for example. He kind of outboxed him, but I don't really see it going like that. I see it like maybe like the first round possibly, but after that, I think sooner or later, well, within 2 rounds, they're going to be there slugging it out. That's how I see it going. And I see probably Chavez Jr. getting stopped late on, possibly Canelo. I fucking hope that Canelo gets stopped. I'd love to see Chavez Jr. win.
It'd be great for boxing. I mean,
Yeah.
it'd put Canelo off his
High horse.
his high horse, exactly. But let's say Canelo wins, there's absolutely no other option than fighting one person, is there? He's gone up to 164 and a half. He's got no other option than to fight Triple G. So as much as you could sit there and say you'd love to see him get put on his arse and seeing bloody stars and everything, if he wins, then the next fight is Triple G, isn't it? It just is.
Yeah, probably, but I mean, who knows really with them? I mean, I would never would have expected them to sort of give up the belt like that. To be honest, anything seems to go with Canelo and Golden Boy. It wouldn't surprise me if they tried to like a catch weight fight with Gilberto Ramirez or something. It's all right, we'll fight you at 163 or something. I don't know. Who knows? I mean, obviously Golovkin's got to beat Danny Jacobs as well. It's not a given. Jacobs is good fighter, and he's obviously taking it very, very seriously. I expect Golovkin to win, but it's not like a foregone conclusion.
It's not, but it's. I don't know. I wouldn't. I was about to say it's not more of a foregone conclusion than this fight. I think they're both favourites. I suppose I think Golovkin Jacobs fight is tighter, I think, than this fight when I consider all factors. But
personally, I don't. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that Golden Boy and Canelo, and I don't know, but one of them or both of them doesn't want to fight Golovkin. I mean, they got all this sort of talk about all these like sort of offers for this amount of money. So I think basically actions speak louder than words. And you can tell they don't want to. And to be honest, I think if they did make the fight, Golovkin would just smash him, which is obviously not good for the image of Golden Boy. For the image of Canelo, and he's kind of their only marquee name, isn't he? Because everybody else went to join Al Heyman.
Yeah, well.
So I think they're going to want to keep him away as much as they can. Golovkin is going to be potentially fighting Billy Joe Saunders in Kazakhstan after this.
Yeah, which would be a cracking fight. But it's one for another video.
Yeah.
To add to Golden Boy, I think they're doing whatever they can to get as much money as possible for the least risk as possible, and that's just business, I suppose, isn't it? Really, from an understandable point of view, from a fan's point of view, very irritating. But this fight again, you can't say it's not an exciting fight. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I think it's actually pretty good. This, if you look at it, obviously you'd think that Chavez Jr. I mean, I think that's something that we haven't really kind of mentioned. We're talking about him making the weight well and him being bigger, but we haven't really mentioned that he's not really that good. It is what it sort of comes down to. And really, Canelo, I do think he's a bit overrated, but at the same time, I still think he is very good. I think he's a lot better than Chavez Jr. He's got much better defence. He's got better combinations. He's a lot more disciplined. I see the only real advantage is just the fact that the will that Chavez will have and the size advantage, which will be new for Canelo. But aside from that, I just think there's quite a big difference in ability.
Yeah, I've got to agree with that. I think Canelo's got the kind of one punch accuracy that could really turn the tide of the fight. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen in the mid to latter rounds when Chavez starts blowing out. Unless Chavez comes in and luckily lands one in the first 3 or 4. Yeah, I think it's a foregone conclusion.
He's got good body shots, Chavez. So he's got a decent chin, hasn't he? His old man obviously had a ridiculous chin. He did get knocked down by Fonfara, but he's tough. Do you know what I mean? So he can stand there and sort of slug it out, dig in some good body shots. Who knows? Yeah, well, should we move on then to the Haye Bellew?
Yeah. Where do you want to start on the press conference?
Yeah. One thing I would say, I think we said it before, didn't we, that the actual build-up was going to be more entertaining than the fight.
Yeah.
I think that's been clear. I think, like David Haye, love him or hate him, he's a very entertaining character.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's played it perfectly. I mean, going up to Liverpool, I think they knew exactly what the Liverpool fans are all about. And I think they're great. They're great fans, but they're also they like making a lot of noise, don't they? And the fact that they actually got to David was quite funny. I thought he looked very tamed at first, and I thought he was going to take it. And I knew he was going to say something at some point, but to sit there and out and say you lot are a bunch of fucking retards or whatever he said, I couldn't believe it. I was taken a bit aback.
He got pissed off, didn't he, with Bellew, because Bellew just started basically saying like, sort of, bitch, shut the fuck up or something like that. While he's in the middle of talking, he just turns around and he's like, what? And then he just started arguing with him, and then he obviously told the crowd to fuck off and all that. But I think Bellew has pissed him off. Bellew's kind of, I don't know, I was going to say him trying to take the moral high ground in that as well. He literally said about 2 minutes before, I don't even remember what David Haye said, but he's going, bitch, shut the fuck up. And then about a minute later he starts going, mind your language, there are children present.
Yeah,
he said it about 3 times in a really irritating way. Like David Haye, I just really wanted to just slap him in that moment.
Yeah, Haye's gonna want to spark him out big time, isn't he? And I really think he's gonna.
Should.
Yeah, if everyone that watches boxing, I mean, I'm kind of rooting for Bellew because, in a way, and I'm only rooting just because Haye really does think he's the bollocks, and I don't know. I think the upset would be funny, but it'd be bad for British heavyweight boxing because. Realistically, we all want to see Haye and Joshua get in there, don't we? If Joshua does a business against Klitschko, and even if he doesn't, then Haye Joshua's out there anyway, and that's still a big money fight for both of them. So, I think if Joshua were to lose to Klitschko, which is definitely still possible, I hate the fact that everyone's ruling him out, ruling Klitschko out. That is, I think if Joshua were to lose to him, I think there's they could possibly have a rematch anyway. Maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't. But the David Haye fight is a massive pay-per-view fight over here, isn't it? It's huge. So
yeah. To be honest with you, I want Haye to win anyway, just because I'm not a big fan of Bellew. To be honest, I don't really like him, and like I can imagine if he does beat David Haye, it's just going to be unbearable. Like the way he talks about himself. Do you know what I mean? Like the way. There's nothing wrong with having confidence beyond what other people see in you. I mean, that's, as we talked about in the other one, that's what's got him to where he is. But he's the way he just goes around talking about, like he said, oh, no one thought I was going to be able to beat like this Makabu. But I mean, honest, no one knew who this Makabu bloke was, did they? I mean, you know what I mean? He was talking about it as if like he was just beating Vladimir Klitschko, and as if it's the same thing. And then he sort of talked about David Haye. I don't know, mate. He just gets on my tits, to be honest. Tony Bellew, listening to him.
Yeah, the ego would be more irritating than
Yeah,
than
I just don't
David's.
like him. I don't like him sort of trying to take the moral high ground. I don't like. I started disliking him really when the Nathan Cleverly rematch, and he started basically going around saying that Nathan Cleverly like was really like thought he was better than everyone else and all this, and I was like, does he? I haven't noticed that. And he was sort of talking about, oh yeah, he's just really arrogant, and I'm just this kind of salt of the earth bloke, and I don't know, mate. I just don't really like the bloke. So if he's gonna beat David Haye now, we'll just never hear the end of it. So for me personally, I'd prefer to see David Haye win, and then we can all move on, and we don't have to listen to like Tony Bellew going on for the next 5 years about how. I just don't even want to think about it, to be honest with you.
Right. Well, that said, so we both think Haye's going to win.
Yeah.
Where does Haye go after this pretty much? Well, let's just say 80+% win. Where do you reckon he goes?
It's difficult to say, isn't it? Because he's so slippery. You don't really know like what he's planning. He's always saying what he wants to do, pulling out of fights, avoiding like kind of basically cherry picking. So who knows, mate? I mean, if he basically makes a load of money and a load of noise in this fight, which I don't really see how he will, is he going to want to take on like sort of tough contenders? Is he just going to want to like the big cash out fight with Anthony Joshua, isn't he? Don't see him putting the work in. And I think it's worth bearing in mind that Eddie Hearn doesn't like David Haye and isn't really going to be in a hurry to put him in there with Anthony Joshua. Firstly, because it's quite dangerous, and if David Haye does win that, that's not ideal for him, is it?
No, it's not.
Probably thinking, I don't really want David Haye to give David Haye this opportunity. So,
yeah. Plus, there's massive money fights for Joshua as well as that. Just to add in as a side note, massive money fights without David Haye.
So is David Haye going to put the work in, wanting to fight people like Pulev, Joseph Parker, all these kind of. I mean, Joseph Parker's a champion, obviously, but I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if David Haye just comes. I wouldn't be surprised if he does anything, to be honest. But what I would be surprised if he like put in the work and actually started to get himself in a mandatory position. Now, having said that, he's obviously got a name. He sells tickets, and we know what these like governing bodies are like. He got made like mandatory, didn't he, for the WBA?
He's already ranked 2, yeah, in one of them. I can't remember what one it was, but he's ranked 2 above. I can't remember who it is now, but he's ranked 2 in one of them, and he's only fought who? Mark Murray and Gurnage, or whatever his name was. I don't know what his name was. Can't remember, but
the undefeated Cobra.
Yeah. He went down to a child slap. He did. That was bad.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I'd like to see. I'd like to see David Haye get in the mix. I'd like to see him fight. Dylan White. David Haye wouldn't want to take that fight. I don't think. It's basically that's the last thing he'd need. Someone who's basically pretty decent. It's not really going to gain him that much the way he sees it. I don't really know who David Haye wants to fight. It seems to me like he either wants to fight Anthony Joshua or someone who's basically got no chance of beating him.
Yeah.
Maybe prove me wrong.
I haven't got a clue. I think it's interesting where he goes after this fight. I mean, he's going to make a couple of million, isn't he, off this fight? Whether we see him take a break until he can get something else, then fine.
Go on, sorry.
I was just going to say, if Joshua's going to lose, I see that fight just as far more likely to happen than if Joshua wins. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. What if Haye loses to Bellew? I mean, anything's possible, isn't it? I mean,
That's
Where does
him
he go
done.
from there?
Uh, well, that's the thing. Do you see him ending his career under defeat? I mean, that'd be such an embarrassing defeat. I can see him just sitting there, just taking his money and pissing back off to Miami. Personally, I think it'd be so embarrassing. He won't be able to live it down, will he?
Nah.
Bellew certainly never will let him. So
He's always very dismissive of his opponents, but this time he's been like especially dismissive.
I think that's more to get under Bellew's skin, even though
Yeah.
it's because
No,
Bellew's coming up in weight. But yeah, it's
but he's always. I mean, he always says the same thing. Like he said exactly the same stuff to Tyson Fury, but the difference is you could tell that he didn't really mean it. He was trying to convince himself. This time he's got genuine disdain for Bellew. He just thinks Bellew's nothing. So if he does lose to him, not only will it be really embarrassing, but I think he'll really affect his confidence. See, if he does, I think who knows what will happen, but it's difficult to see him coming back from that at his age.
yeah. So on an uninteresting, just like kind of final note, where does Bellew go after he loses? He obviously goes back down to cruiserweight, doesn't he? Keeps his belt and moves on with his life, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to get knocked out. I don't know about that. To be honest, I don't. From what I've seen, don't really fancy his chances against like the other top cruiserweights. Anyway, maybe I'm wrong, but that Usyk, have you seen it? The Ukrainian.
I haven't. No, I can't say I've.
I give him very, very little chance of beating him. You got the other like Denis Lebedev again. I don't know. It's difficult to see. I mean, he'll go down and still be WBC champion, but we'll see what happens. I mean, we'll see how badly he gets knocked out as well. I mean, he's been knocked out before and he came back, didn't he?
Yeah.
So, there's no reason why he can't come back. I just can't really. I think he's sort of on borrowed time as a cruiserweight world champion anyway, personally. It's not me just like hating on him. That's my honest opinion.
I think this was his biggest money fight, wasn't it? Biggest opportunity to get as much money as possible. So he sat there and taking it, and that's that really. And he sold the fight himself. He's probably had a side one from David A in the background that said, if I can make the fight happen, la di da di da. And then I actually think the disliking for each other actually is genuine. I think it's built up,
Yeah.
and I think they actually don't like each other, which is good.
Did you see Derek Chisora at the press conference today?
I didn't. I've been watching. I've been listening to a few at work, but I didn't get a chance to watch everything.
Well, he's been sparring, wasn't he, with Bellew. When they were doing the face-off, Derek Chisora was there, sort of going like, "Go on, Tony, all this." And at the end, Haye turns around and goes, "Oh, I hope you've given him the same game plan you had going into this fight. You sat down with him, have you? And you've told him how to beat me." And all this, just taking a piss out of Chisora. It's quite funny.
I actually quite like Derek Chisora. I mean, in his younger days, he's a bit of a hothead, wasn't he? But
It's character though, yeah. I mean, he's got a bit of obviously a bit of a crazy side, but he's quite funny at the same time.
yeah, as he's got older, I've liked him a lot more. He seems a lot more down to earth. I think when he was younger, I think he was just a fight seller, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But
Well, to be honest with you, I liked his style. I liked it basically going to Germany, like slapping Vitali, like turn up with his like bandana over his face, like the British flag bandana, and all that kind of stuff. Just doesn't give a shit. I liked all that. It wasn't the most gentlemanly conduct I've ever seen, but do you know what I mean?
and he spat in his face, didn't he, with the water?
Yeah,
that was a bit grim.
That was a bit much. That. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, only the Klitschko brothers would compose themselves in that situation, I think. Bloody hell. I think even I'd slap Chisora if he spat in my face like that, or I'd try and then probably get spark clean out, but yeah.
Worth it, though, to be fair, if he did that.
Yeah, say I slapped Chisora and live to tell the tale. Last notes?
Yeah, before we wrap it up, then, any change in your opinion of how the fight's going to go? Any last minute prediction change?
No, I'm going to say round 3 to 5 stoppage in favour of Haye. Wishing for an 8-round fight at least. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, I think the third round, possibly the second. I think that Bellew, he's not going to like sort of go into how I think he's going to sort of back off. I think he's going to, especially when he gets hit a couple of times on the guard, and he's just going to think, fuck. And he's going to pretty much be in, I wouldn't say survival mode, but he's going to be quite negative. And David Haye probably be a little bit not cautious, like maybe like a couple of rounds. Maybe it'll take 3, but sooner or later, I reckon he's just going to. I don't think Bellew's quick enough, or I don't think his defence is good enough. I just can't see him. I can't see him being able to take any of the punches. So you put all that together, I just don't see how he's going to be able to withstand it. So yeah, I'll go for like 3 rounds.
Yeah, I'm just here hoping that he's able to run away for a couple of rounds and give the fans, people paying pay-per-view, just a little bit more to see, really.
Yeah, let's hope it's a bit more competitive than we think.
Yeah, well, if he were to give Haye a slap and rock him, I think I've said that to you privately that I'd love to see nothing more. But yeah, again, I'm with you. Part of me would love to see David Haye knocked out, but Bellew getting kind of brought back down to earth and getting humbled, I think is quite necessary as well after all the chat.
Yeah, he got that stuff in the press conference that sort of, I wouldn't say wound me up, but it kind of made me feel like he just annoys me a bit. This bloke with all that sort of, just that sort of hypocritical self-righteousness that he has. I don't really like. So yeah, right, let's leave it there before I end up going on a sort of half-hour rant about Bellew.
Yeah, indeed. All right. So yeah, I think we've gone through pretty much everything from the fight. Yeah. Everyone that's watched, by all means, agree or disagree, as you do below. If you think I sound like, who did the geezer think I sound like, Sean?
I don't know, something out of Phone Jack. I haven't seen it, so.
Do phrase or something.
Something, yeah.
Yeah, if you think I sound like him, give me a shout out. Shout out to Do Phrase. Hopefully, he don't sound like too much of a bellend. And yeah, hopefully we get to see a good fight.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and also we've got the Thurman Garcia fight. Looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, that'll be a Sunday morning job. That will. If you want to do a post fight next week, I'm more than happy to do that.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a really good one, maybe we'll be excited enough to do it Monday. You drop me a text. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, sound mate. All right, mate. Cheers for coming on in.
No worries. Anytime. Thanks for having me. I'll speak to you soon.
Speak to you soon. And thank you everyone for watching.
Right, in a bit.